Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of AndersMillknits. I'm your host, Emily, aka Millie, and I'm coming to you from my local park where Watson is on guard. I am trying really hard to get him out of the frame, but you know. Plus, I went to McDonald's, and French fries are his favorite. Gentle. There you go. So he'll behave because I've saved some French fries for him. But anyway, okay, Watson, here, we put these right here. No. Okay, now you're gonna behave, right? I don't know if this is going to work because there's a lot of people in the park. It's a beautiful afternoon on Friday, right before Memorial Weekend, and this is probably the busiest I've seen the park, and because I usually come here in the wintertime when it's pouring down rain and nobody's here. But you know, and I'm on a park table, which is not exactly the stablest thing, so it probably will wobble the camera, and I apologize. But we're gonna try it out this week because Amy Memers from Hudson Valley Knits, she always records outside, or most of the time she does, and I've always loved that about her podcast. So hey, I look kind of cute with Watson covering up my double chin. Anyway, well, thank you everybody for joining me. Thank you for your returning viewers, and thank you for all of you who are deciding to try me out for the first time. I don't know if I'm everybody's cup of tea. I don't like tea, so maybe I'm not. I like soda. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's my problem. But if you are joining us, thank you so much for giving us a whirl. You can find me on Ravelry as aka Millie, and we have a Ravelry group. We've actually got two now because we have the AndersMill Knits podcast group, and then we have for our summer stripe along craft along, so it's the summer stripe along CAL. We have a group for that as well. So you can find me, there really isn't an us besides from Watson, on both of those groups. Then you can also email me. You can find me on Instagram as aka Millie907, and you can email me at AndersMillknits@gmail.com. There's a dog trainer over there. Sorry if you can hear the dogs. I don't know if my microphone works, but we'll see. Anyway, you can find me. You can email me at AndersMillknits@gmail.com, and you can sometimes find the show notes on our blog at AndersMillknits.wordpress.com. And Watson, he's being very cute right now. So let's just go ahead and get started with some reviewing the last couple weeks, shall we? Hey, no. I've been sick, so not a lot of knitting. I work from home 60% of the time when I'm not out traveling to see clients and things, meetings and all that. So when I am so sick that I can't even work, it's pretty bad. So I was out of work half of last week, and even when I went back to work, I worked a little bit on Wednesday, not much, but then even when I worked Thursday and Friday, I was misspelling things right and left. I was embarrassed about some of the emails I sent out, and I was hard pressed to get things done, and so I played a lot of catch up this week. So this week has been extremely busy. There's been quite a few nights. I think there was 3 nights that I worked until 11:30 p.m. and that's with me getting up. I usually get up around 6:15. I take Watson this is another thing. I'm starting to take Watson for an early morning walk now that the weather's good. And then I come home, take a shower, and I'm ready to do my work by about 7:45. And so that's with me starting then, and I'm oftentimes not getting done until 11:30 at night, you know. So it's been kind of a challenge. But during the last couple weeks, we did get to celebrate my husband's birthday, and he turned 43, and he'd never had a birthday party before. Well, okay, that's a lie. He hadn't had a birthday party thrown in his honor in... Watson, you will stop right now. Sit down. Sit. Thank you. Okay. He hadn't had a birthday party thrown for him since he was like 11, maybe 12. So I decided while my parents were in town visiting that we would throw him a birthday party. And it was Mickey Mouse themed. Because he loves Disney World. He loves Disney, period. And so I made it that, and we celebrated, and I got, with the help of my parents, I was able to afford getting him a barbecue for Christmas, his birthday, and he was ridiculously happy about that. He loves to barbecue. And then we played a lot of games. His favorite game is Apples to Apples, so we played that, and the kids loved it. My nieces and nephews from my one brother were over, and I had little goodie bags for them. You know, just like a regular birthday party from when you were like 10 years old, where you get little goodie bags and stuff. And we celebrated Mother's Day at the same time. So, stop it. We had a really good time with all of that. Sorry guys, I'm gonna continuously be talking to Watson, who's right on the other side of the camera right now. So, you know, it's gonna be an interesting show. And I can't let go of his leash because, well, here, let me get his leash figured out. Those are not for you unless you're good. Okay. Now I have his leash. So then what else have I been up to? Well, the week after, the Sunday, okay, so a week later, I guess actually, okay, so last weekend, Chris and I were feeling better, and we had planned, as soon as he got the barbecue, the week before, he was like, oh, we have to have a barbecue now, and I was like, okay, well, I'll invite some of our friends over and we'll have a barbecue. And so I intentionally kept it small, so I only invited one couple that are really good friends of ours. They just got married. You might have seen that some of their pictures on Instagram from me from a month or so back. And then they got married in March, so whenever that, how long ago that was, since we're now at the end of May. So then I invited them, and Chris invited his son and his fiance, and so we all gathered together this last Sunday night, and Chris barbecued up a storm. I mean, he was just going at it. He barbecued hot dogs. He made a special combination for hamburgers. He was gonna barbecue some steaks and stuff, but we decided there was way too much meat going on for just 6 people. So one thing I love to see him barbecue is ribs. Oh man, I love ribs. Gotta get in there. For all of you vegans out there, I apologize. But I do love them. And we just had a great time. We were really laughing, and my friend Aubrey, she was on her phone an awful lot during the barbecue and that, so I finally asked her, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm on this thing called Wish. And I'm like, what is Wish? So apparently it's this app where it's mainly stuff from China, so but you get things either free or for like $1. And so we were all looking at, and they have knitting stuff on there, guys. So it's an app. They've got ball winders and all kinds of yarn and stuff. Now I haven't purchased anything or anything like that on this, but it was really fun to see that, and I'm like, oh. maybe even on a budget, I can still afford some yarn. And when I say budget, I mean Emily wants to believe she's not going to spend money, but then she goes and does it anyway, as you will see. So that's really been what I've been up to. Watson, oh, by the way, Watson did get shaved, so he looks hilarious. He looks like a little puppy. Wait, you got something in your eye, Bubba? Yeah, okay. So why don't we just go ahead and get into some knitting, shall we? I don't have, Watson, sit down. You leave this French fry alone. No. He's on the table now, by the way. Sit, stay, stay. So I don't have any finished objects except for I have one sock done of my Hermione's Everyday sock, and I forgot my sock blocker at home. So I love this pattern, I love this yarn. So here's the Hermione's Everyday on Happy Feet in the crayon colorway. It's a speckled yarn. Isn't that beautiful? And I did the Fish Lips Kiss because I don't know that that fits me exactly right. I think actually, Watson, a heel flap fits me better. However, I don't really enjoy knitting heel flaps and gussets, so Watson, if you cannot do that because you are sitting right beside the microphone there, so no. Anyway, so I did this. I knit this on a size 0, 60 stitches around, and that fit me perfectly. I've been noticing that I don't really like the fabric of size 1 needles anymore, and that my socks are a little loose on me, or kind of a lot loose on me, and I like the kind where socks are tight on your foot and they loosen up throughout the day. That's fine, but just when I put socks on, I prefer them to be nice and snug. So this is not overly tight, it's just right. I feel really good putting this on. I knit this a little longer because to accommodate for that, because I feel like my row gauge is off. So I did that, and then I did my standard toe, which I want to try a different toe. I want to try the rounded toe. I think that might fit me better. But I've been doing this since I started knitting socks, and where I decrease on either side of my 2 circs or my magic loops, and then I knit 2 rounds, and then I decrease again, and then I knit 2 until I get down to sometimes 16 stitches and sometimes 12 stitches. It depends on who I'm knitting this for and how long I've made the body of the sock. So there you go. So that is my one finished object. So then why don't we go right into my in session. So that was my case notes, and now we're in session. And my ball for the socks has seen better days, but it's still so gorgeous. Look at that. So I cast on for the second sock. And I actually cast on only this last weekend when I was finally feeling better. I actually kistened the toe and everything last Saturday, and then I cast on and I had the ribbing done. And so this is all that I've done throughout the week. But it's been a lovely knit. It's pretty mindless. Feels really good to do it. So I love it. And so I'm doing this magic loop because I didn't know if I was gonna like size 0 needles, and so I didn't want to splurge and buy my 2 16-inch circs. So I do like it, and I'm not sure that I'm gonna go to my 16-inch circs because I like doing the magic loop so much. So we'll just continue to just roll with the flow with that. So then sit down. Sit down. Thank you. So then, what else do I have on my needles? Well, the other big thing I've got on my needles is that shawl. Watson, stop it. He is getting kind of aggressive here. I'm not liking it. It's because we're in interesting surroundings, and So I've been working on my design for the summer stripe along, and when I was sick, I couldn't knit on it at all because it required too much brain power. And so then, but then now this week, I couldn't really knit on it at all either because my job requires so much brain power that I don't really have anything left at the end of the day. But I think I have figured out what I'm doing. So here is the shawl pattern so far, and it probably doesn't make much sense to you, but there you go. And I think it's so interesting to see the different effect the color blocking stripes has versus the tight stripe sequence has with the two colors. And those two colors are, I've got Lemonade Shop in the Goldfish, or Koi Pond, I think it is, colorway. And it's got these gorgeous speckles of gold with this mint green. It's great. And it's got some pops of highlighter yellow and just a few blips. Can you see it? Is it too close to the camera? Well, there's a few blips of blue. And then I've got some Peggy Jane. Is it Peggy Jane? Yes, Peggy Jane fibers. And so far, my one and only skein from her, but I love it, is the Reef colorway. And it's got hot pink, orange, speckles of hunter green, and it's just gorgeous. And then my contrasting with all of that is just a semi-solid purple from Cascade. And it's got a little something. All right, sorry guys, hold on. Come here. Sit down. Now, so those are my two objects that I've worked on in the past little while, in the past 2 weeks. Actually, I'm pretty sure I worked on my Find Your Fade, but I wasn't positive, and honestly, it looks the exact same. I'm stalling on that, but I love it so much, so I don't understand why I'm stalling so much on it. It's weird. So, well, now that that's done, why don't, that's really it, guys, but I still have stuff to talk about because I would like to take a few moments to talk about the summer stripe along. So for those of you who don't know, I'll try to keep this brief because I don't want to be annoying and repeat things over and over and over again. But, holy cow, have I only been podcasting for 17.5 minutes? Wow, this is going to be a short one. But the Super Summer Stripe... Oh no! Alright, hold on guys. Hello again everybody. You may notice that we are in a different location now. Welcome to my back porch. We had like a major fracas go on at the park just now. The wind picked up like crazy and knocked over all of my equipment. My entire, now I have emptied it out, but I had this entire 31 bag full of projects and it is pretty heavy. And I had this entire bag sitting beside me on the bench at the park and it got blown over. I lost my lunch. Two school buses with kids showed up right then. I went streamed out. A lot of cars showed up with people in them blasting their music and I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. So I look a little worse for wear now, but I decided, you know, and I drove around for a little while trying to find a place to finish the podcast and I couldn't find a place, so I was just like, all right, back porch it is. It's not the most inspiring, but you know, lots of brown, but I wanted to keep podcasting. So let me open up my magic book of notes and get back to it. So let's talk about our supers. No, I always want to call it the Super Summer Stripe Along, but it's not. It is the Summer Stripe Along cowl. And I'm fondly nicknaming it the SSA. Yeah, SSAC, or just the SSA. Sounds so governmental when I say the SSA, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe that's what we should go with. Well, let's talk about the SSA, shall we? We are starting on June 1st, and we are going to August 31st, and we are a group of, you know, people who love all kinds of crafts and just want to craft all summer long. Doesn't matter the heat, doesn't matter the weight of the fiber or the quilt, we still want to craft. And our theme is stripes. So anything and everything that you can stripe, go for it. It can be heavily striped, it can be lightly striped. Some people call it color blocking, like in the shawl. Like in the shawl. No, like in the shawl that I'm designing, I would say that there's some color blocking and then there's some dead-on striping going on. But you know, I'm not too... a stripe is a stripe by any other name, right? We are asking that no works in progress be done during this time. So you can start whatever project you want on June 1st. And I'm going to get into what I'm planning on doing. I'm pretty excited. And then, let's see, we've got lots of prizes already lined up. I've got a few, and in fact, I'm putting together some from my own hoard of stuff that I want to include. I'm sorry, guys. I just got something in my eye. Watson, no barking. But that I'm pretty excited about, and so I'll tell you more about that the next time I podcast, so that you guys can have that. But then we are having some swaps with Stephanie, Hot Pink Socks Reviews, or Hot Pink Socks on Ravelry. She has kindly stepped up and said, you know what, let me handle this. And so she's got right now 2 threads open on our group in Ravelry, the Summer Stripe Along CAL group, and one is for a swap for fiber lovers, and one is a swap for yarn lovers. And though I love both, I still signed up only for the yarn right now, and I'm thinking about maybe joining in on the swap for the fiber. We'll see. So that's going on. And then Amy from the Hudson Valley Knits podcast, she's going to be hosting some virtual knit nights with us through Google Chat. Google Chat, I think that's what it's called. So it's going to be super exciting. So the other podcasters that are involved in this with me are, like I just said, Amy, or Memers. She has a number after that, but it's Memers on Instagram and Ravelry. She has the Hudson Valley Knit podcast. Always loved hers. Her latest podcast was so funny. She cast on, it was funny, but it was also very sad because she just lost her longtime bird friend, pet. And then it was also funny but sad. Sorry, it was not funny that she lost her bird. It was very sad. I freak out when I hear about people losing a loved one of any shape and size, whether it be animal or human. Doesn't matter to me. Like, that's some personal things going on there. I don't like losing loved ones. They have to stay with me forever. That's what I tell my husband too. You're mine forever. That's not creepy. But then she was also, oh my gosh, she knits the most amazing things. She cast on for an Alice Starmore sweater, or coat. It really looks like a coat. Which, Alice Starmore, come on now. Are you a master knitter? You know. Anyway, but she cast on, she got into this fracas with her, I'm liking that word apparently, with her knitting, and I won't give it away, but in the end, it was so cute how simple the problem and the fix was with the sweater. But she was thinking it all in her mind. It had to be way more complicated than it was. How many times have I done that? How many times have you done that? Like, I'll sit there and I'll be looking at a pattern, just knitting the same thing over, and the same row even, over and over and over again, and yet it's never right. And I'm sitting here looking at the pattern, looking at my knitting. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? You know, and it seems so simple, but you put it aside and you come back to it later and it's usually something ridiculously simple that, you know, you just were, it's either you're too involved in the project or you're too tired, maybe your mind is on something else, or maybe you just think that it has to be something way more complicated than it really is. You know, I find that with life too. See, this is Emily going on a ramble again. Rambling Emily. But I find that with life. When there's there are complex problems, don't get me wrong. But I find also that a lot of the problems we face in life, there's a lot of very simple things that we can do, not maybe to solve the problem, but at least to assist us in managing the problems until it gets solved. So like for instance, my husband right now is going through a pretty difficult situation, and I won't get into it because it's personal, obviously. And he was having a really hard time with coming to a solution. And to tell you the truth, it's so complicated that I can understand. I don't have the solution, and unfortunately, I have to take a step back and say, honey, you have to come up with this one. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to talk to you about it. I'll listen to you as you work through it. But I don't think I can help you with this decision. And I was wondering for a while if that was a cop-out, if it was me being like more a counselor than a wife in that moment. But I realized that no, he has to come to this decision on his own. However, in the meantime, there are some things that he wasn't doing that were actually making the situation harder on him. So like when my husband gets very stressed, he forgets to breathe properly. So believe it or not, breathing actually helps you to calm the mind, realign your system so that you can focus, so that you can relax, find peace even in the midst of a storm. And so we've been doing a lot of breathing exercises together, and believe it or not, breathing actually is the main source of you losing weight too, so there's a good kudos for you. And or like doing just self-care. So for my husband, watching movies and zoning out, that's self-care. So him doing that. So anyway, I got off on this big tangent when we're talking about the summer striper log cow. But suffice it to say, I have this philosophy that says that while there are complex problems in the world and everyone faces them, no one is immune, and everyone will be affected by them. There's that ripple effect that goes with them. However, there are simple things that you can do to help refocus, to help you be more prepared to take on that challenge, and just to find that shelter in the storm, as it were, you know? For some people that's religion, for other people that's you know, going for walks in the woods. For other people it's reading, for some people it's playing virtual reality games or whatever those are called on the computer. I'm really bad at that. You know, those kinds of things. Anyway, so that's my philosophy. Getting back to the cow. So Amy, go and watch her podcast so you can find out about all that. Then there's Amy, and then there's Karen of Simply Stashless, who's a good friend. And she's going to be doing kind of the vegan side of things because she has made wonderful choices in her life to be vegan and also to knit vegan. And what that means, if you guys are wondering about what that means, go and watch her podcast. And she's taking that route with this Cal, and I'm super excited about that. We've been chatting today even about what we're both going to be knitting up and what fibers we're using. And then there's Helen from Giddy Helen, or Giddy Knits. Of course, people are home again. I can't even find a quiet spot even at home. Let's try this again for the 14th time, shall we? Stop. I'm sorry if you can hear the construction in the background. I don't know if you can. A lot of times when people say I'm sorry if you hear this stuff in the background on podcasts and then you don't hear anything, so you're like, what are they talking about? But it seems really loud to me. So, okay, so the last person with the group is Giddy. Are name's not Kitty. Her name is Helen. And she has Giddy Knits, and she's the sweetest, and she's got the cutest boys, and I love the socks that she knits, everything that she knits. I know her podcast is called Giddy Knits, but it actually makes me calm when I watch her. So, you know, and she's roughing it right now. She's without a husband for I don't even know how long, and doing all of this on her own, and I'm just like, oh, you poor thing. I should send her a care package for that. So, with all that being said, what am I gonna knit? So my plans keep changing, so don't quote me on the following, but I am going to be trying to knit a couple things here. I was going to be knitting something sans cardigan, but the price on that pattern on Ravelry, case in point from last week, Watson? The price on that pattern on Ravelry is now $10. I'm just like refusing. So I am now knitting not only from Stash, but also from Stash Patterns. And I have the Interpretations 3 book from last year. And I've picked out 2 patterns in there, which I did not know they were both by Hohi. But I liked them both, and they're both very interesting to me, and I think I will enjoy them tremendously knitting them. And yes, I am still knitting the, what is it, the Hudson or the Henley, a Henley sweater from Hohi. I need to break that out. I've been itching to knit on it. I need to break that one out. I was really not wanting to knit a fingering weight sweater because, as you can tell, I'm a larger woman. And fingering weight sweaters are so daunting to larger women. But you know what? A, it's the yarn that I have. And B, it's the patterns that I like. And C, I run hot. So those fingering weight sweaters seem to work out the best. So the first one that I'm going to knit is called Breathing Space. So here is one of the patterns. You can't see particularly the detail in particular that I am interested in. But I love that kind of wider neck. It's almost like a boat neck, but that suits me rather well, I think. And then you can see it more from the back on this image. Here's it from the back. It's got a good stripe going on, but see, it goes, it's a pretty standard raglan sweater. I think that's a raglan sweater. Yeah, raglan sweater. However, right underneath or right at the bust line area, you switch from going their standard to going on the bias for the stripes, and I think that is gorgeous. And look at that hem. See, it continues all the way down. I think that's going to be so interesting. I am going to make it longer probably than is called for in the pattern, because as I can see from the pattern, she has it, the short side hitting right at the top of her, right at her hip, and I never look good that way. I look like an apple when I wear those. So I need a little bit longer. Oh, here's a good image of it. So if you can see where that's hitting, so it's a good 3 inches above the bottom of the hemline from the other side. So I'm gonna knit a little longer, not much. I'm not gonna make it like tunic length, but maybe like an inch longer. We'll see. Then the other one that I'm planning on knitting from hers is called, from Interpretations 3 as well, is called the Peeping Cowl. Look at that. Now she's right now got a mystery knit along going on that utilizes something similar to this, in that the only similar part is that she has these short sections in her mystery knit along that she's doing right now. That thing is so gorgeous. I keep thinking, oh, do I want to do that? You know what? I think that would count as stripes too, don't you? Because you're picking either 5 or 6 colors and you're repeating the colors throughout, and it's making a striped effect, or a color blocking, whatever you want to call it, effect. And that would, to me, that works. I might have to do it. Apparently you're using all of it. But you can't see this because it's at the darkest point, but there's some of my favorite type of lace. It's the same kind of lace that she uses in the Henley. And So that's in there as well. So those two patterns are for definite, maybe, a definite maybe, because you know, I change my mind every time. Like every time you guys show up to watch me, I bet you're like, where is that coming from? And where's the pattern that she talked about knitting last time? Like for instance, where is my scrapey sock blanket? I've knit one hexagon. I mean, come on. I change my mind and I'm like, bird, shiny, you know, that kind of thing. Ooh, shiny objects. So I'm also though going to, I wanted to show you the yarn I picked out for breathing space. So here's Emily going against herself again. A long time ago, I bought a single ply yarn from Madeline Tosh in the Victorian Gothic colorway, and I'm talking like 5 or 6 years ago or longer. It could have been, you know what, I think I bought this when I bought my house, and that was in 2008. I think this was my prize from buying my house. Like, you need a prize. The house is the prize. In my head though, yarn. So I bought this beautiful single ply yarn, and at the time I didn't know that I didn't like single ply, and even to this day I'm not really sure that I don't like single ply. So I bought this beautiful, it's this black with an over dye of like mauve-y purple. And then if you recall, for my wedding I had broken out of stash my hedgehog fibers in the Monarch colorway, and I decided to pair these two together. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful! Ah! I hope that's, oh, I'm so excited. Now this is a 3 or 4 ply. I think it's a 3 ply yarn, and this is a single. Do I care? No, I don't, because I'm gonna love this thing. So I haven't even checked to see how much yarn is required, because I know I have enough yarn. Here's an entire bag of the Victorian Gothic, and I've got like 3 skeins, at least, maybe 4, I'm not sure. I've broken them up. I must have 3 skeins because I broke them up into 2 separate balls for, you know, for blending. So 6, I have 6 really small cakes, and so yeah, I should have enough. Let's see what her pattern calls for. So breathing space, so it goes all the way up to a 2 extra large, and since 50 stitches around is the 2X, I'm probably going to be doing that one. I might do the 46 is my, so it says choose a size with no ease to a small amount of positive ease. So I guess I am choosing the 50 inch because that would be no ease. So you would need for that, I would need 4 skeins of, like they say, the uncommon singleton from the uncommon thread, and that's 115 grams in each of those, so that's 475 yards. And then you would only need 2 skeins of Madeline Tosh. 2 skeins of Madeline Tosh. So I've got enough for 1.5 breathing space sweaters. So I'm no longer worried at all. Then I know I'm also going to be knitting a pair of self-striping socks because I have a special order coming to me from Kirby Warby Yarns, who's our lovely sponsor as well, and I'm so excited about this. So I'll be getting that. And then this morning I was rummaging through my my stuff that I'm knitting, or that I have knit, and this is a very old project as well. I don't know how old this project is. I don't think it says anywhere on any of my stuff. But it is, let's see if I can find knitting directions, techniques. Okay. And then what's the name of it? I can't even remember the name. Catkin. This was a pattern that I think was pretty popular back on Ravelry. I don't even know how many years ago. Again, could have been 8 or 9 years ago. I don't know. Time is fluid, people, and Emily's bad at fluidity. No, I'm kidding. So this is Catkin. And I loved this as soon as I saw it. And when I saw it was actually at my local yarn store back home in Alaska at Far North Yarn Company. One of the patrons came in. I didn't work there, but you know, another knitter came in and she was wearing this, and I was just like, oh, I have to knit it, and I have to knit it in the yarn that she knitted in. So I picked out colors that I liked of the yarn that she knit in. So this is, okay, so I am knitting it in Rowan Lima, 50 gram Hanks, and I've got it in this taupey colorway and this very soft blue colorway, and I think that goes pretty well with me. It's very soft and kind of feminine, right? So I got through the first pretty easy section. Sorry, it's so large I can't show you all of it on this needle, which I believe is a 40-inch needle. But I got through all of that, so there's some striping there, and then I started in on the textured / cabling pattern, and that's as far as I got. So I'm gonna have to find out where I'm in, but there's more striping after this, and we're not requiring that your entire project be striping. Just have striping elements in there, some striping be included, you know. So, and it's knit on pretty big yarn and needles, and I'd love to get this finished, you know. I want to wear it. So it's just in one of my rucksacks for when I go camping. So I probably was knitting on it quite a few times in the past while I was camping. So those are the things that I think I'm going to be knitting on. So we've got a, oh, sorry, that is an unfinished object, so obviously that wouldn't count for prizes. But then again, I don't get to get any prizes, which I'm totally fine with. I think it's amazing what prizes we have out there for you guys. But I really would like to finish it, so I'm gonna knit it for the knit along. That makes sense? So then, okay, so we've got a sweater, we've got a cowl, we have socks, and then we have a shawl. And I'm probably gonna knit myself another one of my shawls. Pretty sure, because I really enjoy it when I'm knitting on it. So as soon as the brain space is free and I can finish designing it and get it out there for you, it'll be out there. So I'm gonna knit all those things. So I just need to knit some pants or something, huh? Some self-striping pants. Maybe some leggings, right? Okay, so in the last segment that we have today is in our toolbox. So on Monday, I was so incredibly homesick. I struggled to work, period. I don't know if I've already said this or not. I've been thinking about it. And I kept on trying to work. Like, I sat at my computer for over 8 hours on Monday, and I got 4 billable hours out of all of that. I'm really disgusted with that. So I sat there, but then, okay, but then I would be like distracted or staring off into space wishing I was home. And then I would go on Instagram and be looking around, and I get distracted. So I bought a skein of yarn that day. Actually, I bought 2 skeins of yarn because I bought my special order from Kirby Werby, and then another skein of yarn that I just could not resist. And I don't even remember who that's by, so I'll show you when that gets here. And then also I saw that my local yarn, one of my local yarn shops, which is for Yarn's Sake in Beaverton, had the Lin Magazine. So I ordered it online and I picked it up yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to look at it because instead of looking at this last night, I decided to watch a mummy movie. Mummy Returns, I think it's called, because I never seen any of the mummy movies, and my husband was like, what? And so over the last 3 weeks we've been slowly watching all of the mummy movies. So I guess there's Mummy Returns, and Mummy something or other, and has to do with China. We watched about 5 minutes of it last night and both were falling asleep, and so we've been watching it in increments. We'll get about an hour into it and we have to stop because we're too tired. Sad. But I got the Lin Magazine. Actually, that's not how you say it. And If you want to know how to say it, go to Curious Handmade, the podcast in which she talks about her Portugal knitting retreat. I think it was the one before this current one. She goes into this and how it means wool in French, and something about waves or something like that in Finnish, I think. Anyway, but I haven't gotten a chance to even look at it, so I can't even show you really anything. But there's Andrea Mowry, and she's got a whole section in here. I guess they did an interview with her. Oh my gosh, look at that. How beautiful is that sweater? So tuku wool, and yeah, this was expensive, but I view this as, oh, that's pretty. I view this as a book, not a magazine. Wow, that's interesting. Is that brioche knitting for a sweater? I'm gonna have to look into that. Let's see. Always choose the best. This is a lifelong philosophy. So it has a whole history about the project, but I don't know. It might just be stripes. We'll have to see. But anyway, so this was pretty expensive. This was $27 US dollars. So, you know, it ain't for the faint of heart, but it goes on and on and on. And ooh, this shawl. Look at that shawl. And then look who's over here. So Nordic summer days. So, oh, cooking. Ooh, they've got this thing called Rosemary Collins. It's a simple syrup, and then a salmon salad with quick pickled onions. Holy crap! I wish my husband liked fish. What's this? Nordic pancakes and cardamom strawberry jam. I'm gonna be eating well. Anyway, they've got a whole thing about Helsinki now. Now I'm gonna be spending the rest of the day reading this, because now that I've opened it, it's gonna be very difficult to put down. So this is Lin Magazine number 2. So it's summer of 2017. So I know a lot of places here in the US are carrying it, and they're selling out fast. So but I know at least my yarn shop, I got the second to last one, and they had more coming. So yeah. But that's what I bought this week, and that's in my toolbox. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this erratically rambling, and there's the name for this episode, podcast episode. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me. I was pretty frazzled and frustrated for a while there, and I'm still a little bit, because I don't know if you can hear the stuff in the background, but it's ear piercing and annoying. But it was a beautiful day, and I was intent on knitting outdoors, so I did it. Yeah. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you in 2 weeks, at which time the summer stripe along will have begun, and I'll be announcing the winner of the May double dip cow, and so that one will be closed, and the June thread will be opened up. And I haven't picked out the prize for June, but I've got a lot of things percolating in my head from stash still. And any makers out there want to donate to the giveaway, you can if you'd like. But I've got a lot of things from stash too that I'm like, you know, let's pass on the love. So that's about it. So from all of my people in my home to yours, knit what you love and love what you knit. Bye guys, take care.